right, Mastermind family, welcome to October. It is fall season here in New England, and things are getting a little bit colder. It's a little bit chilly in the morning, and random stores are becoming Spirit Halloween. Tis the season for Spirit Halloween to pop up in random abandoned Best Buys, and used to be Blockbuster videos. There were a lot of Spirit Halloween Blockbuster videos back in my day, and I found this really great article talking about just Spirit Halloween, the way that they're capitalizing on empty real estate and being able to run their kind of pop-up shops, pop-up retail experience in a really clever way, taking advantage of this opportunity, taking advantage of high markup items in a seasonal period. And so no brainer for them. Really cool business to check up on. And CNBC did this great article for them. Found this other one that they are starting Spirit Christmas. I don't know who does this branding, but it is also weak. And can't wait to see what Spirit Christmas is going to be like. I would imagine it's like a rundown Christmas tree shop, or the yard sale Christmas tree shop that nobody wanted, but you're going to spend a ton of money in because it's probably going to be less expensive than your other retail stores, and you're going to get those last minute decorations and things that you need to get. Christmas, no surprise here, it is one of the highest grossing holidays out there for decorations. That's why our Lowe's and Home Depot has Christmas paraphernalia, Christmas decorations now, even before Halloween, which is wild and makes some people upset. But really fun article to check out. I think this shows us, even for small businesses, to think about, hey, what is that unleveraged opportunity? What's the opportunity around these available spaces, pop-up experiences that we can create? What's something that everybody needs? Also, just a great reminder for, hey, mentioning Halloween during your newsletters out there. Like if it's something, it's a little bit lighthearted, it's a little bit more fun. Being able to just get reminded, hey, this is also end of year season. We've talked about getting your planning in place, getting your goals in place for Q4. But now it's about that time. We should be thinking about client gifts. We should be thinking about prospects gifts. We should be thinking about 2026 updates. Lots of really fun stuff coming out soon. In other news, just last week, we've had an amazing real life heist movie storyline where people has stolen the crown jewels, or these priceless jewelry, from the Louvre Museum in Paris, France. This is wild because I was just there about a year ago we got to go for the Olympics and got to see the crown jewels on display, got to hear these amazing stories. And they did it because they just set up a ladder outside. It looked like any other kind of, building repair going on. And it turns out it was a couple dudes heisting these priceless jewels from these cases. It is wild in broad daylight. So lots of memes popping up from this. Again, it's just like interesting to connect topical stories that everybody is aware of or has kind of heard of, turning that into something interesting for memes, or turning that interesting to hey, how does this reflect? Hey, if you're in financial professional services, many of our clients are, you can be talking about things like, hey, maybe you came into some money. Like, let's say you somehow received a batch of priceless jewels from Paris, right? Just like alluding to it, kind of making it interesting, kind of making it funny. And that's your opportunity as a good communicator, good marketer, to be able to leverage a story like this, make it your own, right? For nonprofits, it might be like, hey, you want to make a big donation before the end of the year? Maybe you've come into some money. Maybe you have lots of priceless jewels from the Louvre that you want to donate. We're happy to take those. Again, you can spin that story in a lot of different ways. All right. In other retail news, if you don't want your things stolen, and the Louvre did not have this in place, we may soon start to see drones start to become our primary theft prevention device. And so not totally surprising here. I'm surprised it took this long because drone technology has come a long way in the last 5 to 10 years. And so being able to see how these drones can be deployed automatically when sirens go off. Imagine a drone, once they found out that these jewels were stolen in the Louvre, a drone deploys from the roof, starts to follow these people around town a lot more closely. Yeah, that's all possible today using the technology of AI and drones together. Pretty wild, really interesting story to check out here. And not a bad idea to keep an eye on that stock as well. In other retail news, we've got lots of retail stuff going on today. We've got Chick-fil-A, who is starting to open a beverage store called Daybright Coffee and Refreshments. So they're not hiding the fact that they are part of the Chick-fil-A world. And this is off the heels. We talked about this. McDonald's had opened Cosmic, a drink-focused brand, but they recently shut it down and said that they're no longer trying to reach that market. But the Live Mas Cafe from Taco Bell is planning to debut, and a bunch of others. So what's really interesting here is this is, by all intents, a trend within the retail space. So what can we learn about this trend, especially for small businesses, maybe for nonprofits? Something that is on my mind is thinking about, okay, there's maybe 3 or 5 things that is really interesting here around this story. One, people are finally waking up after many decades of Starbucks really kind of owning the beverage quick service world. Dunkin' Donuts doing just that, and don't get me started. Dunkin' Donuts, inferior product quality in my opinion, but these other chain restaurants are finally catching up on that idea that, wow, the margins on this are wild, and people are willing to pay $5, $6, $7, $8, $9, $10 for potentially a beverage more regularly than they would necessarily go out to eat in some of these restaurants. So the opportunity here is really big. There's also maybe 2 or 3 things that make sense, but you really want to think about. One, having a beverage, being able to spend like $5, $10 multiple times a week is better potentially than spending $30 every couple of weeks, right? Where I might get a meal, we certainly don't want to eat out at McDonald's every day or multiple times a week. But it might be like an occasion, like once a month, maybe a couple times a month. But I know people who go to Starbucks every day, and there are certainly people who may get an expensive beverage every day, and that's expensive. It adds up for sure. So the revenue is quite high. It helps that they're selling mildly addictive stimulants like caffeine in coffee, but to be able to think about also the fact of the convenience, right? To be able to stop, make it a little bit of a social trend. There's this great article about Starbucks when they first started this philosophy of being a third place. So you have your home, the place you live and sleep and eat, and your family is constantly, and then you have your work, and that's your second place. You're the place that you go to regularly, earn a living, get fulfilled, achieve thriving in our case, or what we'd like to call it. But there is a third place, the place that you socialize, spend your time, really, develop as an individual beyond those two places. And Starbucks has a very lofty goal of trying to be the third place for many people, especially people who don't have that third place necessarily. For a lot of people, that's church. A lot of people, that might be after school or places they donate their time, their energy. It might be youth sports. I mean, there's so many different things that you can do in that third place. And today, I think many people have more than 3 places. But for Starbucks, thinking about like, hey, let's create an environment that could be, cozy. I know a ton of people who use Starbucks as a makeshift co-working space. There is more and more of this trend happening There's more remote workers, even though people are coming back to work in droves. They're still remote working. They're still taking your work wherever you need to go. There is this kind of socializing hangout space that is designed to be more comfortable and more accessible than maybe some other fast food places. So there is this kind of interesting trend around that, kind of paying attention to that, paying attention to the convenience, paying attention to optimizing the profitability. These are all things that we can keep an eye on as small businesses. How can I deliver convenience? How can I deliver maybe mildly addictive stimulants? How can I deliver this approach to clients that feels very connected to something that they do on a regular basis, right? And really, and keep an eye on your competitors and how are they doing it. We just had a client who does, they do indoor mold and air quality inspections, and so they just started to think about like, hey, there are tests that are available that we can send to clients. We don't have to do this manually. And that's our bread and butter is doing that in person and using industrial equipment. But there are tests that you can do that are a lighter that find maybe 60 to 70% of, the most common, occurrences. That is a really interesting product that we can create and we can ship anywhere. And we have this almost immediate extension of audience and potential clients that we can work with. It's something that we can downsell into, where if somebody doesn't want this professional grade exploration, this professional grade testing, then they can get this kit. So I think we just have to keep our eyes on that, because that is the way of the future. People want that convenience. They want a little bit of DIY. And certainly if we can create a version of that has a great experience, that feels very similar to, or at least on the track of what we're delivering, I think that's really powerful. All right. And then McDonald's, of course. I agree to your legal terms, CNN. I found this story interesting because I used to play this as a kid and I loved it. I thought I've always thought, before I was a marketing professional, I've always thought that Monopoly was an amazing marketing spin on the products of McDonald's. And so, they've paused this for, I think, over a decade, and they're finally bringing it back because there's some high-tech gamification that can happen within McDonald's app for playing Monopoly. So if you don't know, if you've been under a rock for the last 30 years, I don't know, McDonald's every now and then seasonally will come out with playing Monopoly. So you have these little pull tabs, and then you can get these locations. You save up those locations. It encourages you just to go to McDonald's more, right? It's another reason to go. Like if you're on the fence about like, should I go to McDonald's or should I go someplace else? You may go to McDonald's. You may choose McDonald's just because, hey, I just collected 3 railroads and I'm trying to get the 4th one. Maybe that happens. So it's just that extra little reason that a couple things for small businesses just to be aware of. That little extra reason to bring people in through the door or to have that conversation, I think is brilliant. But also gamification, I think is just always something that we're kind of keeping in mind for all of our clients, thinking about, hey, how do we create a gamified way that you can win and grow? A great example of this, in my opinion, is how Uber started. They kind of made famous the give one, get one model. So they have, originally it was really hard to get an account to Uber because it was closed and you had to get an invite from somebody. But when you got that invite, you shared that invite. And when you shared it with somebody, you got a free ride for sharing it. And the person you shared it with will get a free ride. You got a free ride, you give a free ride. And then this kind of created this viral network effect within the app, within this gamification. You got to imagine at the time, I think rides were somewhere between $8 and $12, $8 and $15. Today, rides are, I don't know, 15 plus, 15, 20, 25. So it can get quite expensive. So, hey, yeah, I'm going to use that free ride for, something really great. And they knew that cost of paying the individual, obviously, that they didn't have to pay 100%. They could pay, a portion, and they pay that portion to those drivers and still give everything that they promised to give. That was the cost of acquiring a customer. And that's big. If you can understand the cost to acquire them and you understand what they're going to spend in their lifetime, then you can really have this confidence to push on the gas and improve your work. I love ads that click themselves. I didn't click anything, and this ad came up. Thanks, BDO. That was wild that happened. Okay, so next up. So love showing off the Monopoly for McDonald's. This was a cool one for social media. I found this TikTok account called Roomies. It is a very well produced TikTok series, a TikTok mini series almost. They kind of slowly introduce these characters. They're kind of in funny moments. They're obviously, they're obviously actors, and they're obviously, this is obviously a scripted, very well produced mini series or mini. I don't know what you would call it on social media, like clips. Reels. So these videos, there's dozens of them, and they play regularly. There's tons of episodes. Oh, here we go. 17 episodes. But they do really well. 2.2 million likes, 100,000 followers for just 17 posts. Pretty good. Not terrible. And if you notice that here, this series, Roomies, was created by the company Built, which does, I believe it's like a credit card checking account system where if you pay through that card, they're going to give you a bonus or a return on your rent, which is usually one of the highest expenses that you have. I'm not sure exactly how the financial gears work on that, but it is wild. It's awesome. It's an awesome product to check out. But I thought this was interesting that a brand would go to this level to create this kind of it's not even, if you watch it, it's very entertainment focused. It's not very educational about that product, but talking about roomies, like the kind of interesting interactions that you have between roommates, obviously is very funny, very interesting. And then creating this is the new media. This is this opportunity for brands that are mid-level and higher, I'd say. This is absolutely an opportunity. For smaller brands, this is hard to do. This is easily going to cost in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. But for bigger brands, this is a drop in the bucket. This is something that you probably should be thinking about. Smaller brands, I want you to think about, hey, how can I do this on my own? Right? So of course, if you're not on social media is not expensive to start. It's just going to take a little bit of time. But the question of should you do this is no longer an if, it's no longer should you. This is a must. We have to create more content like this. We have to be interesting. We have to stand out a little bit. And so, especially if your competitors are not doing anything like this, you have a unique tone of voice. Let's show the world, what that tone of voice is. All right. Next up, last couple things I want to show you is these really great examples of some ads and campaigns that I found out there that I thought was super interesting to just kind of bring up and show you what's up. This was a Google campaign.
Typos into an absolutely hilarious ad. As part of their famous You're Not You and You're Hungry campaign, Snickers once put together a list of the 500 most searched words on Google. But they didn't actually care about those words. What they did was they used an algorithm to find more than 25,000 common misspellings of them. Words like business, the kind of dumb mistakes you make when you're hungry and your brain is fried. And then they went out and they placed ads on every single one of those typos. And here's the genius. While competitors were busy blowing their budget on expensive keywords, Snickers was secretly buying up all the cheap misspelled words. Plus, it nailed their brand voice and it built a happier relationship between them and their customers by turning a negative moment, the frustration at the typo, into a positive and funny brand interaction. Boom! The results were insane. After just 2 days, they had reached over 500,000 people, all with zero production costs. For more marketing ideas that you can really...
Okay, zero production costs is ridiculous. They spent a lot of money with an ad agency that did this for them. More than 6 or 7 figures. I would put my money on that. But what they spent on media buy was close to zero. Well, was a lot less than they would to try to get this sort of attention. So super interesting. Those keywords that are misspelled are very, very cheap because it's not very competitive. That's how Google prices their keywords. People may not buy the misspelling of a word, but Snickers did. And so even with 25,000 words, running this ad for not very long, you only have to run it for a few days, right? Yes, you're going to get a lot of hits or a lot of views, but super interesting because you can isolate those views within the geography that you want. That targeting is really, is available to you. So I think it's super interesting. It was a cool campaign. And yeah, I think this is something, again, it's clever, unique. It's something that what this guy said at Bad Marketing here is it is aligned with their brand voice. It follows their brand voice. And so thinking about like, all right, what is our brand voice? How does our brand voice sound? Where would we be? How can we showcase? Maybe I've got some weird virus going on. Lots of ads popping up out of nowhere. I think it's one of these tabs that's doing it, actually. All right. Next up, last couple ones here. Campbell. Love showing off collaborations here. Campbell's and Pabst Blue Ribbon, PBR. Haven't had a PBR in a long time. But cracking open beer-infused flavored soups. I'm glad it's not soup-infused flavored beer. This is kind of wild to see, but certainly like knowing your audience, right? Campbell's, back in my day, they did chunky, like Campbell's Chunky is like football players like eating Campbell's Chunky soup. Campbell's Chunky soup, kind of gross in my opinion, but lots of better soup out there. But being able to tie into, I'm going to say college middle America, maybe. I don't know. I've eaten it, so, and I've never grown up in middle America, but I'm going to say like, this is like hearty American, younger, more affordable, certainly, both PBR and Campbell's Chunky Soup, on a lower income spectrum. So love it. I love it. I hope they do well and it crushes. All right. Last thing, to show off here, as we're getting late into it, is this other amazing campaign.
This might be the most creative marketing ever, because this brand sold chocolate bars with one piece missing to their customers, but with a little twist. Back in 2013, this Swiss chocolate brand manufactured 10 million chocolate bars with one piece missing. But as soon as people bought them and noticed the missing piece, they were confused and even wanted to sue the brand until they read a small note inside the wrapper. It turned out that this was not an accident, and people actually had the chance to get their missing piece, because every chocolate bar had a code that could be entered on the brand's website, giving them the chance to either claim the last piece for themselves or send it to their loved ones with a custom message. And as a result, over 500,000 people chose to send their last piece to their loved ones with beautiful messages. Who would you send the last piece to? This might...
Amazing. The infrastructure of this is crazy complicated, because first, you need to change your packaging. You need to create these, dynamic labeling. So you need to have variable labeling so you can have different codes inside. You need to create a website that analyzes those codes. You need to have a shipping service that sends these out. But a ridiculous experience for the consumer. It's fun, it's playful, it speaks their brand voice. Probably, I don't know Milka very well, but they seem like a very wholesome company. And this idea of like spreading chocolate, spreading the love, spreading this joy, I think is wonderful. Here's the takeaway for small businesses. Obviously, like, hey, this is great, James. I don't sell chocolate, so what am I supposed to do? Think about the idea of tapping into your existing customers. Everybody has existing customers, existing donors. You have an existing core group. The ability for us to tap into that group, utilizing your tap into them and enable them to spread the story and message of your service and offering. So activate the customers that you have to bring you new strangers, to bring you new people into the fold, right? This is a brilliant way to do it because you're taking your existing product and basically like dovetailing that into the next audience that you want to reach out to. But because most people, I'm going to imagine the majority of people, I would bet a beer that I would bet a Pabst Blue Ribbon that you would most people are going to send that to someone that they care about. And so they've just amplified their marketing target audience potentially double, right? Let's say at least 30%, 20%, right? I think maybe the conversion might be a little less than that, but still, I mean, you've just taken every person who's purchased, and you have this increase in your next new audience, right? Here's like a free sample that was sent to you because that piece was missing from our bar, right? And this is something that you can carry out in so many different ways. Being able to think about like, hey, how can I give one, get one? How can I, this is basically, we're going to create this whole process for you so you can, we'll send this on your behalf and your benefit. Is there something that you can create that is of value to those audiences and tell them you can distribute? So we did this for a client who was a subject matter expert. They ran a consultancy for mergers and acquisitions. So they're an M&A consultancy, and they run this conference every year. And at the time they were running this conference, I'd say the start of this conference, minimal results. When we stepped in, we said, hey, let's charge for that conference. Let's put a dollar figure. They're like, no, we don't want to do that. We like where it's at. I was like, no. I don't want to charge so that we can make money from the conference. I want to charge so that we can create value in that conference. And then we can start to say like, hey, because you're a client of ours or because you're on our mailing list, we're going to give you 2 free tickets to this event. And that's worth $250 or $300. So all of a sudden, out of nowhere, we've created this value to that event, and now we're giving people that value. And there's something psychologically just slightly different about inviting somebody to a thing and saying, "Hey, this thing is worth more, and we're giving you access to it." So, a little opportunity there, something to think about. One of the first, I'm going to say the first mastermind in years where we did not talk about AI a lot. I think I mentioned AI maybe once or twice, but certainly AI can make all of these things, all your dreams come true. No, it can be applied to a lot of these campaigns and activities, and certainly you can use it for, drumming up new ideas, but not a ton of new news. There have been a lot of scary things happening in AI around, maybe there's no need for jobs in 10 years or 5 years or so. So let's just keep an eye on that. Shout out to the workers out there who are still working without getting paid. Yeah, we're glad you're doing that. And I hope there's some resolution soon. No political commentary on that. And just, I just care for those individuals. I want you guys to be in a safe spot. Have a great rest of the month. We are meeting once for November and December as well because of the holiday season. So I know you're gearing ready for that. Looking forward to hearing some great stuff from you. Thank you so much, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye now.